Happy Thursday, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Thursday Thoughts, which is something we have not done in a while. Listen, 3 years ago around this time, something amazing happened that really changed my perspective of how I view ministry and church. So let's talk about it. Either 3 years ago yesterday or 3 years ago around this week or time, not sure the exact date, but I know it's been 3 years since one of several life-changing moments occurred in my life. Because when the pandemic first started around this time 3 years ago, I was forced into basically being my church's media director. As a PK, you do things that you are not signed up to do almost all the time. I've been a PK my entire life, so please don't tell me I don't have experience because I have already witnessed a lot. Becoming a media director in an instant was very all of a sudden because from July 24th, 2016, all the way until March 15th, I believe, in 2020, I was in the music ministry as a background vocalist and a musician. So that was what I did. That was literally all I was doing for 4 years straight. I felt good in it. I felt connected to that because music is my heart. I love to worship God through music. So that just suits me perfectly. So I always had this perfect picture in my mind that this is a forever thing. Media at the time, like just growing up, wasn't of interest to me. There was also this thing about like not breaking stuff in church that kind of scared me. So I just put my face in another place and I stayed away from all of that big equipment. And then of course, once I got older, I was only on duty for media if we needed a backup. And it went from me not worrying about it and watching someone else do it to me literally doing it all by myself. And that turn of events literally altered my brain chemistry. At that time, as a PK, I was literally church sick. To be completely honest, like it was every time I turn around, somebody needs me or something from me, my parents, I'm like, I want to enjoy church too, which is why watching House of Hope Atlanta was something that I was already doing because I'm like, okay, I can wake up, I can enjoy church in the morning with House of Hope Atlanta, be ministered to, actually enjoy praise and worship and listen and comprehend a sermon and then go to my church and do real work. So that's how I kept and am still keeping a balance because it was like the same thing I loved so much turned into the very thing that I could not stand. And I was like, I've always loved church, ministry, and what I do. But the first quarter of 2020 leading up to, the pandemic was very aggravating because I felt like I was constantly on demand. I thought it wouldn't be as bad virtually because I'm like, okay, great. We don't have to drive anywhere. We're doing all of this here. Just wake up, set a few lights, get a camera, get dressed, and go live. I also thought it was a plus because being at home only meant that me and my parents were doing church, which meant I didn't have to hear what other people had to say about what I'm supposed to be doing as a PK. But at the same time, as we got more and more into it and we were in a pandemic longer than we all intended or thought, there was the part of me that missed the congregational aspect of service and in-person worship because our church, we are very involved in the service. Like praise and worship is very congregational. Communion is a congregational thing. So like we do everything together. Like our church is predominantly African American. So, us, we love talking back to the preacher when the preacher is preaching. I missed that, and still do. And it's crazy when you've been in church so long that you can hear like the people's voices in your head when you read the comments. So in the early part of the pandemic, I was like, okay, I'm in a mix between I like this and I hate this at the same time. To be honest, it was difficult and very hard to navigate the first several months of online service, but I eventually found my way and my dad gave me the position as media director once I was okay with the new wave of my assignment that God had given me. And there's some people who still have, the lingering mood of micromanagement. But I tend to block that out because I know what I am doing. I have a certificate in technology, period. Look at me go. And also, my father wouldn't have allowed me to do this if he knew that he couldn't trust me or that I couldn't do it. And God's will is always going to be done regardless of people's opinions, period. I can honestly say that this journey has taught me that God did not call us to be one thing or one subject type people. There is so much more than beyond what we can see. And what God has planned for our lives is far greater than what we could ever plan for ourselves. The best decision I made in my life was giving God my heart. In addition, trusting where he would lead me was another great decision that I made. I had no clue what I was stepping into, but I am thankful that I got a grip and I'm holding it down every single week. The real question is, what happens when we go back to in-person worship? Am I going to be just a media director, or am I going to come back as a singer, a musician, a media director, all of the things at the same time? I have thought about it. I've contemplated doing music and media. I've also thought about just doing music again and getting straight back into music, and doing that, because music won my heart first. So I'm pretty certain it'll win my heart over again, but it's been a while. So I would love to go back to music after doing media for about 4 years. I did music for 4 years. And then next year will be 4 years of media. So diving into music wouldn't be bad. My encouragement to y'all is that God can use you in so many different areas, even the ones that you didn't think you were qualified for, or you would have an interest in. That just goes to show you how good God is and how he is so mindful of us, that what we think we're not ready for turns into the same thing that we do effortlessly with our eyes closed. Thank y'all for watching and tuning into this long-awaited Thursday Thoughts episode, because it's been a minute. I love y'all so much, and have a great weekend.